At first, literally nobody knew his name. Today, we're looking at an absolute global phenomenon. But before the massive challenges, the millions of dollars, and the hundreds of millions of subscribers, Jimmy Donaldson was really just a teenager sitting alone in his bedroom. He had a computer, a webcam, and this incredibly unusual obsession. He wanted to become a YouTuber, and he was willing to spend years figuring out exactly how to do it. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to dive straight into the extraordinary journey of the boy who flat out refused to give up, and how he totally cracked the code to internet attention. So think about this for a second. While other teenagers were just casually scrolling and watching content, Jimmy was entirely consumed by one massive question. Why do some videos absolutely explode while others just disappear completely into the void? Instead of throwing his hands up and quitting when nobody watched his early gaming and commentary videos, he became deeply, deeply obsessed with solving this exact puzzle. It's like he was trying to reverse engineer human psychology. He analyzed thumbnails, he studied titles, and he actually tracked viewer behavior frame by frame just to understand what made people click and, way more importantly, what kept them watching. Picture this. It's Greenville, North Carolina. Jimmy, right around age 13, sets up his very first channel under the name MrBeast 6000. Let me tell you, it was not glamorous at all. We're talking a basic webcam, absolutely zero fame, and just a kid experimenting. He played games, he talked about other creators, and he put in hours upon hours of grueling work, often only to see a handful of views. I mean, imagine the absolute loneliness of that process, right? Putting your whole heart into something and getting pretty much absolute silence in return. For most of us, that silence is the ultimate signal to just pack it in. But Jimmy, he definitely wasn't most people. And that leads us right into what I like to call the grind. Really look at that gap between 2011 and 2016. That is half a decade. 5 full years of relentless uploading, failing, learning, and then just trying all over again. By the mid-2010s, he still only had a really small audience compared to the giants of the platform. But, under the surface, something incredible was actually happening. By constantly studying what worked and what didn't, Jimmy was fine-tuning his understanding of human attention. He was slowly figuring out this one crucial thing. Ordinary ideas could become extraordinary if they were just pushed to an absolute extreme. Which brings us to the year 2017. 40. Honestly, just think about what you could do in 40 hours. That is an entire full-time work week. It's almost 2 entire days straight. Well, in 2017, Jimmy sat down and spent 40 consecutive hours doing something so completely ridiculous, most people would have just quit after the first hour. But he didn't stop. He just kept going, hour after agonizing hour, pushing himself to the absolute limit for an idea that frankly sounded incredibly boring on paper. He decided to count from 1 to 100,000 on camera. Literally, just one number after another, all the way up to 100,000. It was strange, it was totally ridiculous, but guess what? People literally could not stop watching. This bizarre endurance test completely exploded. The video went massively viral. Almost overnight, the teenager who had spent 5 years making videos to a silent room suddenly captured the attention of millions. From that crazy viral moment, Jimmy realized something profound. It was a real light bulb moment. The idea didn't have to be normal. It just had to be unforgettable. I mean, counting to 100,000 isn't normal, but you certainly won't forget someone actually doing it, right? This breakthrough taught him that pushing simple, everyday concepts to their absolute extreme was the true currency of the internet. Now, here's where he gets really smart. Instead of just taking that new money and buying nice things, he transformed his channel into this brilliant 4-step compounding machine. First, you create the video. Second, you earn revenue from views and sponsorships. Third, and this was completely revolutionary at the time, you give that money away to change someone's life on camera. And fourth, you reinvest all the attention and revenue from that video right back into step 1 to fund an even bigger idea. He wasn't thinking like a traditional internet celebrity at all. He was thinking like a highly strategic entrepreneur. And this compounding loop, it created a massive scale-up of spectacle. He started out by giving away a few $1,000s. Then, as the loop kept turning, it became tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. The challenges got crazier, the prizes became totally unbelievable. Every single time his audience thought, okay, there is no way he can go any bigger than this, he proved them wrong. He realized people don't just click on facts, they click on stories. Hearing someone won $10,000 is cool, sure, but watching a high-stakes challenge to see exactly what someone will do for that 10 grand, now that is a story. Then came 2021. He completely recreated the world of the hit show Squid Game in real life, deploying what became the ultimate MrBeast formula. We're talking hundreds of contestants, super clear and simple rules, distinct winners and losers, constant suspense built right in, and of course, a giant cash prize waiting at the very end. With this one massive event, Jimmy officially transformed from a guy making quirky videos in his room to a creator of massive, global entertainment events. But here's the thing. Despite the massive budget and those insane, elaborate sets, the success of the Squid Game video boiled down to one really simple driving question. Who would win? That's it. All the money, all the crazy production value, it was all completely secondary to the single narrative thread. He created a simple story with a clear goal and constant tension. Millions of viewers stayed absolutely hooked until the very last second, simply because they desperately needed to see the ending. And Jimmy quickly realized he couldn't just rely on a single platform forever, so he started building a multi-vertical empire. On the business side, he launched burgers and chocolate snacks, turning his brand into actual physical products. Under philanthropy, he created Beast Philanthropy to fund massive global charity projects. And for entertainment, he expanded out into television and streaming with huge projects like the Beast game series. He really proved he was no longer just an internet personality. He was a major business mind and a large-scale philanthropist. You know, there's actually a massive misconception about his success today. People see the millions of dollars, the giant studios, and the hundreds of employees, and they just assume that's what it takes to succeed. But the reality of his foundation? It was just a computer, a camera, an internet connection, and absolutely relentless persistence. Jimmy didn't have wealth when he started. His actual capital, his absolute biggest advantage, was his unreasonable determination to just figure things out. He made hundreds of attempts before the world ever even noticed him. Just take a step back and trace this evolution for a moment. From age 13, starting MrBeast 6000, to the viral counting video in 2017, all the way to the massive Squid Game event in 2021. And then, just look at this staggering milestone. By 2026, sources report his main channel reaching an unbelievable 479 million subscribers. That cements it as the largest YouTube channel by subscriber count, period. When you juxtapose that unprecedented global reach with that lonely teenager sitting in his bedroom, the journey is just truly staggering. So, what is the crucial takeaway from this whole explainer? It's this. Jimmy's story isn't just about becoming famous, or getting rich, or having the biggest sets. It's really a story about becoming better. He achieved global success because his early videos were definitely not perfect. He had to obsessively study his failures, experiment, reinvest, and relentlessly try to make every single new version just a little bit bigger and a little bit better than the last one. It's a fantastic reminder for all of us that you don't need to start perfect. You just have to study your failures and relentlessly iterate. So ask yourself, how can you apply this exact compounding approach to your own goals? Jimmy Donaldson was pretty much ignored by the world for years, but he knew something important. You don't need everyone to believe in your dream at the beginning. You just have to be willing to do the unglamorous, totally grueling work when the room is entirely empty. So the ultimate question for you to take away from this is this. If you had to spend the next 5 years talking to an empty room, what is the one obsession you would flat out refuse to give up on?